This evening, I want to look at Psalm 29. In the midst of all the chaos of our world, I think that Psalm 29 is one of the many Psalms that really can speak to us that God is on his throne and that all the stuff happening in this world, even the natural stuff in this world, not just the stuff of men, but the stuff that seems so strong, natural disasters or storms in this case, happen at the explicit command of God. And in that we can take great comfort. So like all times, my preparation for meditation is Psalm 131. Because my heart, O Lord, is not lifted up. My eyes are not raised too high. I do not concern myself with things that are too great or too marvelous for me. But I have calmed and I have quieted my soul. Like a weaned child with its mother is my soul within me. And this is definitely one of those of, I will not concern myself with things that are too great or too marvelous for me. That from Psalm 31 or 131 talks about, basically just stay within your own pay grade, and that's not God. And so Psalm 29 kind of highlights that in such a big way. It's a psalm that whoever wrote it, David, I guess in this instance, like so many of them, was probably looking at a storm, or probably just had experienced a storm. And this is a psalm of storm. This is a psalm of someone seeing something that is so much larger than them, so much more powerful, something that can just kind of break you like a twig, and saying, this God is the God over this. My God is the God over this. This God that can do this is my God. That's happened to me a few times. One of the times, oh my goodness, we were camping in Kentucky, and it was one of, I've been in a lot of storms, alpine storms and storms in canyons. Storms that kind of shake you, But this storm, just at a campground in Kentucky, we're with the girls, and it starts, storming like I don't think I've ever seen. The lightning is so close, and it's deafening. And it's one of those where you want to hide. And we were in a camper, so like this, we've only camped in a camper like 3 times in our life. And we were in a camper, and that didn't help. It wasn't like we were even in a tent. You couldn't get far enough away from the thunder. And as the thunder was rolling in and the lightning was striking, within, later we found out, the next morning that it was, 2 campsites over, there was lightning damage, and it certainly felt that way. And I remember I had to get out because the awning was kind of flapping weird. And so I had to get out and in the rain, and I had to like crank it tight or something like that. And I came in, and right as I came in, the door was still open to the camper. And there was a flash of lightning and thunder, right at the same time. And it took my breath away. And I'm like the dad. I'm the one that's supposed to kind of have my stuff together. And it took my breath away. And the girls are just falling apart, crying and shrieking and terrified. And something came over to me. And Leanne did it kind of right at the same time. It was incredible. We were that kind of stroke. We were right at the same spot. And I just yelled at the girls, because you had to yell. You were like, in a tin can with possible hail. And I just screamed at the girls. I said, girls, this is your God. It just overwhelmed me. And I don't even think I was telling them. I think I was telling me. That when the lightning was striking my soul, it felt like. It was like, this is your God. Worship him. It's like the book of Habakkuk. I think it's the end of chapter 2 where it says, the Lord is on his throne. Let the earth be silent. God is that big and that powerful. And this is that psalm. I'm just going to go through the psalm. I don't think I need to talk about it. It's just hear it. And I will say, there's some really weird kind of language that maybe culturally is a little bit distant from us about, God, I don't know, stuff skipping like a lamb or something like that. And that, I think that what you're seeing there, and especially with the cedars of Lebanon. I mean, the cedars of Lebanon, you can Google them, like they're incredible. And there are these powerful trees of the Middle East and the ancient world. That, I mean, the ancient world was kind of built. Anything that was opulent and gonna be around for a long time was built with cedars from Lebanon. Maybe, I don't know, they exported it like crazy. And here, this picture is in this psalm of God making the cedars of Lebanon, whatever it's gonna say, I want you to put in your head that it's making them just slap the ground and just, they're dancing and they're skipping. And I think for us, I don't think of trees dancing and skipping very much. So maybe those weren't the words I would use, but it's that picture of just these things that are literally the picture of might and strength in the ancient world, that God's just slapping them. And notice also that it's God's voice. It goes back to Genesis 1, where God spoke and the world was created. And what we see in Psalm 29 is that God is still speaking, and that creative power still belongs to him. It's not, it's not like the old philosophers say, the watchmaker, that kind of winds the clock and then just kind of lets it go, and the world just kind of ticks along based on the nature, laws of nature and the rules of science. It's not that way at all. I mean, he uses those things, but our God, the God that was there at the beginning, the God that spoke the world into existence, he still speaks, and all cry holy. So hear the word of the Lord this evening from Psalm 29. Ascribe to the Lord, O heavenly beings. Ascribe to the Lord glory and strength. Ascribe to the Lord the glory due his name. Worship the Lord in the splendor of holiness. The voice of the Lord is over the waters. The God of glory thunders. The Lord over many waters. The voice of the Lord is powerful. The voice of the Lord is full of majesty. The voice of the Lord breaks the cedars. The Lord breaks the cedars of Lebanon. He makes Lebanon skip like a calf, and Sirion like a young wild ox. The voice of the Lord flashes forth flames of fire. The voice of the Lord shakes the wilderness. The Lord shakes the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of the Lord makes the deer give birth and strips the forest bare. And in his temple all cry glory. The Lord sits enthroned over the flood. The Lord sits enthroned as King forever. May the Lord give strength to his people. May the Lord bless his people with peace. Our God is the God. Amen.